Hey friends, thanks for joining me today on your mat. I'm going to get started by reading out of Psalm 37, verse 4. It says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." I think the order of this verse is really important. First, it says to take delight in the Lord. When we find our delight in God and in a life pursuing after Him, then our desires change to match with His plan for our lives. Sometimes I think we turn that verse backwards and we tell God all of our deepest desires, our dreams, and our goals, but they're not always lined up with His truth. Sometimes our desires are pushing us towards a life of comfortability or materialism, and Jesus says that that is not the life that He has planned for us. And so when we fix our gaze on God, when we find our delight in Him, He starts to change the desires of our heart. Instead of looking forward to worldly things, we start to want to walk in the mission that He has for our lives, no matter if that involves being comfortable or being uncomfortable. It's all about chasing after Him. So today, while you're on your mat, I invite you to just tune into your heart and check in with where your desires are. What are your biggest dreams and goals? And where do those come from? Are those goals bringing you comfort and possessions, or is it pushing you towards a life for Jesus? Have you first taken a moment to place your delight in the Lord? And if not, start there today and ask God for help as you make that switch. It's hard to do, but it's a challenge that we're called to walk in. So go ahead and grab your mat and your water, and let's get started. Alright guys, we're going to get started in a simple seated posture on our mat today. Go ahead and start to sit up tall through the crown of the head, getting a long spine. Close the eyes, rest the hands on the knees. Let those shoulders drop down away from the ears, and take a big inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale out. Great job. Blink the eyes open. Inhale, reach the hands high. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now bring only the fingertips together, leaving some space between the palms. Inhale, reach those fingertips high. And open up the chest here, letting those hands come back slightly. Open up the chest. Inhale. And exhale, bend the elbows, keeping the fingers together, just drop them behind the head. Inhale, reach those fingers back as far as you can. Reaching high, open that chest one more time. Exhale, come back to center, and then bring those fingers over to the right. Getting a big tilt here. And then begin to draw a big circle with the fingertips, starting to open up the sides of the body, getting a really deep upper chest and shoulder stretch. And then go ahead and reverse those circles, going to the left. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. Hands to heart center. And let's go ahead and counter that stretch. So reach the fingertips forward and then cross the right arm over the left. Turn the thumbs down and hold hands. Begin to press through the knuckles forward and draw the chin into the chest. This time opening up through the upper back. Inhale. And exhale, slowly come back to center. Switch those hands left on top of right, thumbs down, hold hands, and press those knuckles forward. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. Come back to center, release the hands onto the knees, and let's take seated cat-cow. So as we inhale, draw the chest forward, drop the forehead back, open up the front of the body, and exhale, round through the spine, chin to chest for cat pose. Opening up through the back of the body, becoming long through the spine. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale to cat. Go ahead and take this motion a few more times at your own pace, using that breath to move you from cat to cow. Inhale and exhale. Great job. Come back to center. Take the right hand over to the left knee. Left fingertips come behind you, and just slowly start to bring that gaze over the left shoulder towards the back for a simple seated twist. Inhale, sit up tall, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist. Maybe bringing that gaze a little closer towards the back. Great job. Come back to center, and the left hand comes to the right knee. Right hand coming back behind you. Take your twist on the opposite side. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, twisting. Notice how the exhale maybe brings that twist just a tiny bit deeper. Great job. Inhale. And exhale, come back to center. Release the feet out long. Hands beside the hips, and find your staff pose. Again, reaching the crown of the head tall, becoming long through the upper body. Inhale, reach the fingertips high. And exhale, slowly start to hinge forward at the hips, reaching as far as you can. And then exhale, round through the spine, release the hands to the shins or the ankles or the toes. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold down. Great job. Starting to open up through the hamstrings and through the lower back. One more deep breath here. Inhale and exhale. Come back to center, plant the feet into the mat, bending the knees, and the hands just behind you with the fingertips pointing forward. Start to lift the hips up into an upward plank position, creating a straight line from the crown of the head to the knees. Or maybe you can drop that forehead back, opening up through the throat. Inhale and exhale. Great job. Take that right ankle to the left knee as you begin to release the hips down onto the mat, coming into a seated pigeon. Maybe you take some small rocks from side to side, taking baby windshield wipers. Great job. And we're starting to open up through that right hip. So if this is a little bit too intense, you can walk that left foot away from the body a little bit more. Or if you'd like a little deeper stretch, walk the foot in towards the body. Close the eyes, sit up tall, not dumping weight into the wrists, but lifting out of them. And begin to breathe into that right hip space. Inhale, opening up here. Exhale, bringing that chest just a tiny bit closer towards the legs. Inhale And exhale, maybe feeling a little bit of release through that right hip today. One more deep breath in. And exhale, release that right foot back into the mat, and let's take it to the other side. Left ankle coming onto the right knee, opening up through that left hip. And then maybe you begin to rock the knee from side to side, warming up the hip and the lower back. And then whenever you're ready, coming to stillness and just breathing in this posture. Inhale and exhale. Feeling that chest come a little bit closer towards the legs. One more deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, let it out. Great job. Release that left foot back onto the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together and sit up tall in a butterfly pose, letting those knees fall out towards the sides, maybe resting on a block or just reaching towards the mat. Inhale. And exhale, begin to fold down towards the mat, coming to wherever is comfortable. Maybe it's just a slight fold today. Or maybe you're bringing that heart to melt down towards the feet. Take a moment here to breathe, focusing this time on both hips. And with each exhale, allowing the knees to just fall a little bit closer towards the mat. Inhale. And exhale. Inviting that oxygen into the hip muscles, the lower back. Inhale one more time in your butterfly pose. And exhale, come back to center. Let's swing the legs around and come into a tabletop position. Hands coming under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and draw that belly button towards the spine. Getting a flat back here. Inhale. And exhale, walk the hands about a handprint in front of where they are. Drop the shoulders down, keep the hips high, and find your puppy pose. Inhale, breathing deep into the upper body, the chest, and the shoulders. And exhale, maybe you stay here, or maybe bring the hands together into prayer hands. Inhale, opening up through the sides of the body. Exhale, letting that heart just melt a little bit closer towards the ground. One last deep breath in. And exhale, roll onto the forearms, lift the crown of the head tall, and come into Sphinx posture. Opening up the chest, press those ears away from the shoulders, and really opening up through the core muscles. Close the eyes and take a deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale it out. Great job. Inhale. And exhale, release the chest down. Place the fingertips into the mat, and then just barely lifting the chest away, using the core muscles to lift you into baby cobra. Barely any weight resting in the fingertips. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. One more deep breath in here in this pose. And exhale, release the chest down, plant the hands under the shoulders, and lift up all the way into upward facing dog, lifting the knees slightly away from the mat. And exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and find downward facing dog. Begin to walk out your dog here, bending one knee at a time. Inhale. And exhale. Great job. Inhale, reach the right toes high. Make sure the hips are square, so we're not lifting that right hip high with it, but just using the leg to lift the toes. Equal weight in the hands. Inhale through the nose. And exhale, this time bending that right knee and stack the hip on top of the left, opening up that right hip towards the side. Continuing to keep equal weight in the hands. Inhale, breathe into the right hip. Open mouth, exhale it out. One more deep breath in. And exhale, step that right foot to the outside of the right hand and come into your lizard posture, dropping down onto the back knee. Inhale, open up the chest towards the front, lifting the head tall. And exhale, maybe you come down onto the forearms today if that's in your practice. Taking your lizard posture one step deeper. But wherever you're at, close the eyes. Breathe into the right hip. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. One more deep breath in. And exhale, blink the eyes open, come back up onto the hands if you weren't already, and heel toe that right foot into the middle of the body, coming into a low lunge. So maybe you keep the hands down onto the mat or onto blocks, or bring the hands to heart center, or lift the fingertips high. Whatever feels good for you today in your low lunge. Inhale, opening up the chest. Exhale, lunging a little bit deeper. This is a really great stretch for our left hip flexors. Square off those hips towards the front. One more deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, and then we're going to slowly, just using the legs, lift all the way high into a crescent lunge. Awesome. Whenever you've made it, sinking low into that lunge, lift the fingers high, open up the chest. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. Bring the hands to heart center, drop the left elbow over to the right knee, and find a twisted high lunge. Bringing the gaze either down towards the mat or up towards the sky. Inhale, getting a really great twist through the upper body. Exhale, can you drop those hips a little bit lower in your lunge? Awesome. One more deep breath in. And exhale, open up all the way into a warrior two, opening the hips and the chest towards the left, reaching those fingertips out long. Inhale. And exhale, flip the front palm, take it back for peaceful warrior. Inhale, opening up the right side of the body. And exhale, come back to center, drop that right elbow onto the knee, lift the left fingertips high, and find your side angle. Inhale. And exhale, come back into warrior two, reaching those fingertips out long. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step the right foot back, and take your vinyasa flow, ending in your downward facing dog. Great job taking that same flow on the other side. Inhale the left toes high for three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the left knee and stack the hips on top of each other. Opening up the left hip towards the side. Again, keeping that equal weight in the hands. Inhale. And exhale, step that foot to the outside of the left hand, and find your version of lizard pose. Either staying on the hands or dropping down to the elbows. Close the eyes and breathe here. Inhale and exhale out. Great job. One more deep breath in and exhale. Come back onto the hands if you weren't already. Heel toe that foot back into the center of the mat and find your version of low lunge. Hands to the mat, to blocks, heart center, or lifted high. Wherever you're at, bring that lunge deeply towards the mat, stretching through the right hip flexors. Great job. Inhale and exhale. And then using the legs, slowly begin to lift all the way into a high crescent lunge. Inhale, reaching the fingertips high, open up that chest, and let the shoulders drop down and away from the ears. Great job, slightly pulling that left hip back, squaring off the hips and shoulders. Inhale. And exhale, bring the hands to heart center, drop that right elbow down to the left knee and find your twisted lunge. Sinking low with the hips. Inhale. And exhale, gazes down or maybe lifted towards the sky. Awesome. One more deep breath in, really engaging those legs today. And exhale, come back to center and open all the way into Warrior Two. Inhale, reaching and opening up the chest. Exhale, sink it low. Inhale, flip the front palm. And exhale, take it back for Peaceful Warrior. Opening up the left side of the body. Inhale, reaching. And exhale, take that left elbow to the left knee and reach the right fingertips high. Side angle pose. Inhale, open up the chest. Exhale, come back to Warrior Two. Inhaling. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step that left foot back, and take your vinyasa flow. Moving with intention today, focusing on every posture, and really bringing the breath into the movement. Great job. Take a moment here to rest in your downward facing dog, letting those heels come down towards the mat. Maybe not making contact today, maybe just reaching. Inhale, look to the top of the mat. And exhale, take 2 big steps into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold down, just letting the crown of the head reach down towards the mat. Opening up all the way through the spine, lengthening here. Great job. And take that left hand to the middle of the mat. Reach the right fingertips high. And bring the left heel slightly away from the mat. Really getting a deep stretch through the right hamstrings. Inhale, open up the chest towards the right. Reaching a tiny bit higher. Exhale out through the mouth. Awesome. One more deep breath here. Inhale. And exhale, release the right hand down, left heel back down, and take your deep fold, bringing the chest just a little bit closer down towards the legs. And then whenever you're ready, take the right hand to the center of the mat, slowly reach the left fingertips high, and begin to lift the right heel away from the mat. finding your twisted forward fold on the left side. Inhale and exhale. Great job. One more deep breath in, opening up through those left hamstrings. And exhale, release the left hand down, right heel down, and then heel toe the feet to the outsides of the mat. Drop the hips down, coming into a yogi squat, maybe placing a block under the tailbone or bringing the hands to heart center and using those elbows to press the knees out wide. Great job. Take a moment to just close the eyes and breathe here, finding length through your spine. Inhale and exhale. Awesome job. One more deep breath in and exhale. Slowly lift the hips high, heel toe the feet back in, and come back into your forward fold one last time. Maybe nodding the head yes and shaking the head no, releasing some neck tension here, allowing gravity to pull you a little bit deeper into this stretch. Great job. Bend the knees and come to seated on the mat. Coming to the middle of your mat and pull the right knee into the chest. Give it a tight hug here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly begin to release the back onto the mat, keeping that right knee into the chest, using the core muscles. Great job. And when you've made it, rock that knee from side to side, getting some movement here in the right hip. Inhale. And exhale, use that left hand to guide the knee across the body. Open up the right arm long and let the gaze fall to the right, finding your supine twist. Close the eyes. Take a moment to breathe here, slowing down the body and slowing down the thoughts. Just being present here in this moment. Inhale through the nose. And exhale, can you allow that knee to fall just a little bit closer towards the mat? Awesome. One more deep breath in. And exhale it out. Draw that right knee back into the chest. Release the right toes long and then pull the left knee into the chest. Give it a tight hug. Rocking that knee from side to side, finding some movement here. And then take that right hand, guide the knee across the body, and find your supine twist on the left, reaching through those left fingertips. Inhale and exhale. Allowing the weight of the knee to pull you deeper into your twist. One last deep breath in here. And open mouth, release it out. Come back to center with that knee, give it one last hug. And send the toes long. Allow the arms to come down beside the body. And find your Shavasana pose. Close the eyes and tune back into the breath. And as we're here, I'm going to leave you with a few questions to just rest your heart on. Spend some time in prayer about today. Have you set your desires in the Lord? Do you long to live a life for Christ? Take a moment to think about some of your biggest dreams and goals. Are they moving you closer to a life of comfortability, or do they join with the mission of God and the plans that He has for you? Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. God, would you help us today to align our hearts with you, to align our heart's desires with what you desire. God, help us to set apart any selfish desires or goals or dreams for ourselves, ones that follow with the world's train of thought rather than yours. And help us to see a bigger picture, the mission that you have us on, Lord. Help us to desire the things of you. They might be harder, they might be more uncomfortable, but we know that there's nothing more satisfying than following in your footsteps. So help us with that today, Jesus. We love you and we thank you, and it's in your name that we pray. Amen. Thank you so much for moving and breathing on your mat with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time.